Call the order of the Pleasant Grove City Council this evening, December the 7th, 2021, and welcome our three council members that are with us, and we're missing two of them tonight, and maybe one will be joining us virtually on the island she's sitting on right now, but I know I did last time I was on an island. And but anyway, and so we do have a quorum, and so we will proceed there. We're grateful for our city staff that is here with us this evening, and all those who have joined us from our public, and also those who've joined us this evening virtually. We welcome you. I'm Mayor Guy Fugel, and I'll be conducting the meeting this evening. Our first item is to have a Pledge of Allegiance, which will be done by Councilmember Jensen, after which our opening remarks will be Councilmember Anderson.
The audience, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're very grateful for the opportunity that we have tonight to gather together as citizens of Pleasant Grove. We're grateful for the opportunity that we as council have to go through the agenda items, and we ask that would bless us, that we can make those decisions that will be best for Pleasant Grove in the long run. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Move to item number 4. Item number 4 is approval of tonight's meeting agenda. There is no changes, so I ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move to item 5, and it's our open session, and we'll invite anybody from our citizens and our general public to come forward and address the council at this time. I see no one approaching the podium, so we'll bring it back up here to the front here and close our open session and move on to our consent items tonight that consist of our city council minutes for November 16th, 2021 meeting, and B, to consider for approval of payment request number 2 to Geneva Rock Products for the micro servicing 2021 project. C, to consider for approval final payment to J. Lynn Roberts and Sons for the Veterans Memorial Park Pickleball Court project. And D, to consider for approval reports for November the 18th and December the 2nd, 2021. If there's no other questions on this, ask for a motion.
I'd make a motion that we approve the consent items previously read by the mayor.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock, second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We do not have any board, commission, or committee appointments this evening or presentations, and we'll move to our first public hearing, 9A, a public hearing to consider for adoption the resolution 2021-064, amending the consolidated fee schedule for the fiscal year 2021-2022 and providing for an effective date. Director Roy.
It's actually page 10. The only thing that we're going to amend is the library schedule. And so we're removing the $1 a day on VHS. There's probably people in the Sherman doesn't know what that is. DVDs. And then also taking the fine per day, which was 10 cents. And then the other change we made is for lost items, that'll just be replacement value. We had like replacement plus, so just those small changes. And we took off lamination too, but that wasn't part of our things, just some cleanup while we were doing that.
Any questions, council?
Nope.
Okay, with that, we will now open our public hearing and ask anybody to come forward that wants to address the council on Resolution 2021-064. Go ahead and come forward, Darren. Our library director will come and enlighten us here.
Where it says, lost items, replacement value, it should be lost and damaged items.
Okay, so noted.
Okay.
So, thank you, Sherry. Ask anybody to come forward. Want to see no one approaching the podium, so we'll now close our open hearing on Resolution 2021-064 and bring it back up to the council for any further debate or ask for a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2021-64, amending the consolidated fee schedule for fiscal year 2021, 2022, and providing for an effective date. And do I need to say anything about the changes, Tina? As amended, okay.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Anderson. And this will be a quick roll call vote with Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes. We'll now move on to our next public hearing, 9B, public hearing to consider for adoption Ordinance 2021-32 to apply for a CG General Commercial Zone to approximately 3.6 acres of property currently zoned RR Rural Residential Zone located approximately 1130 West State Street in the Mud Hole neighborhood. And Director Cardenas.
That guy gonna get eaten by a shark.
It's gonna be Denise in about a week.
I heard the Jaws music.
Well, I won't be back. At least I got the audit.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for being so unselfish.
Mayor, Council, as the mayor just introduced this item, this is a proposal for a rezone. The property that we're referring to is this property right here in this white cloud. This is one of the things I'm gonna miss from Riley. She loves to do like little doodles on her zones and stuff like that. So it's about 3.6 of an acre. It's not the entire property, it's just a portion of the property. And the applicant is Clean Space Storage. So based on them, I'm assuming, and with the conversations I have had with the applicant, that eventually we're gonna have some storage units right there. The applicant is proposing at this point just a rezone. So we're not talking about a site plan, and we're not talking about a vicinity plan. Later, as part of the process, later on, the applicant will need to apply for a site plan, exactly where the building will be located, and we have to work with engineering and staff and planning staff to make sure there's enough connectivity for these roads. But at this point, all what the applicant is proposing is just the rezone. In other words, to change the use of the land from rural residential. Right now, the entire area is rural residential, meaning is for dwellings that need to be in lots that are at least half-acre lots. Now, all this corridor right here along State Street is being, it's in our general plan, and it's being categorized as way state commercial. We can see this is what we have our grocery store, and the entire area along right here, along this is State Street, we have commercial uses for it. This area is called the West State Commercial. We have the Central State Commercial and the Downtown Mixed Use. Just following along State Street, we have always commercial uses on the side. So our general plan contemplates or already plans this area to be used for commercial uses. Now, as we know, as we can take a look at this rural residential is some of the remnants. I'm assuming many years ago, the school and all this area right here used to be for, I'm pretty sure the mayor knows more than me how that area used to look, but it was for farms, small rural residential zones. So that's what the proposal is, Mayor. Again, just I want to make emphasis that at this point, we're not talking about a site plan. That'll come later on the process. It's just for the rezone of 3.6 acres. This item was presented to the Planning Commission, and they forwarded a unanimous recommendation of approval. As we can see, the general plan backs up the motion or the idea of turning all this area right here, eventually, all the way to right here, into commercial uses. So it will go from lime green to CG, to blue. It's kind of like the word that I'm looking for here. It's the natural way of how this land is going to go. I received, just before this meeting, an email from some of the neighbors, from one neighbor, and they're just a little concerned about the rezone right here. And the email, I'm sorry, and I didn't have time to print it, but the email is just that they're worried about noise levels, lining traffic, safety of their children. Now we have a school right here next to it. And they will say that they would rather have to go from rural residential to general residential. We don't have a general residential zone, but I'm assuming it's something similar to single dwelling. But again, our general plan contemplates or takes into consideration that all that area right here to eventually be commercial uses. And what the applicant is proposing is just a continuation of the CG zone right there. Okay? That's what I have, Mayor and Council.
Any other questions for Daniel, Council?
Nope.
Thank you, Daniel.
My pleasure.
Not with, if there's no other questions from the council, we'll now open our public hearing for ordinance 2021-32 and ask anybody to come forward and address the council on this. I see no one approaching the council coming forward, so we will close our public hearing and bring it back to the front here for further discussion or a motion, council.
And just one comment, Mayor. The closer you get houses to that, and I don't know what that street is called, I can't remember, the frontage road and the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
I think that business is that very nice buffer between keeping those kids safe. So
I agree.
just a comment on that, on the neighbors. I know that they are concerned about commercial, but in that buffer zone, I think that's the smartest thing to do.
Yep.
I agree, yep.
Thank you.
And also, just to add up to that comment, once we have a site plan, we'll make sure, for example, if the commercial is never in a residential zone, that we have some mitigation, like setbacks and fences, and yeah, correct. We'll make sure that the lights never go toward the neighbors and stuff like that. But we'll make sure that those measurements are taken during the site plan approval.
Train's been awful active.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion of adoption of ordinance 2021-32 to apply the CG General Commercial Zone to approximately 3.6 acres on property currently zoned RR Rural Residential Zone located at approximately 1130 West State Street.
I have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. And this will go with the same rotation of roll call vote. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Okay, we'll now move to our next public hearing this evening, which is 9C, a public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance 2021-33 to apply for R1-10 single-family residential zone and approximately .29 acres on property currently zoned RR rural residential zone located at approximately 1330 North, 100 East, Big Springs neighborhood. Robert and Jill Bigelow are the applicants. Director Cardenas.
Mayor, Council, just like you mentioned, this is an application from the Bigelow family. They own a property that is currently in the rural residential zone. And I'm gonna bring these zoning maps so we can take a look at this. So the entire property, as how it is right now, is this rectangle that is right here. And what the applicant is proposing right now is just taking this little chunk of land. Well, it's not that little, but it's 0.29 of an acre, almost a third of an acre, and create a new lot. So this application went to the Planning Commission for two things, for the rezone, and it received unanimous recommendation of approval, but also for a plat, meaning that what the applicant is proposing, again, is just to take a little piece of land off from that, create two lots, but in order to create a lot that is, the lot is gonna be about 12,000 square feet, but they want to be in the R110 zone, which is surrounded by R110, if we can take a look at that, okay? The aerial view is I think the aerial view map helps a little bit more. There you go. So the creation of the new lot will have frontage on 1280, very simple single family dwelling lot. There will be again 0.3, a third of an acre. And the plat is not coming to City Council because when we do it, we call this a minor plat, less than 3 lots. It's just approved by staff. The final approval is done by our engineering department. But again, the proposal of this is just to rezone this little square, to be able to section or to cut off this piece of land and create a 12,000 square feet lot. They need to rezone into an R110. So it's going from RR to an R110, and it's just going to merge the zone around. Okay? Does I have Mayor and Council?
Thank you. Any other questions for Daniel? Thank you, Daniel.
My pleasure.
We will now open our public hearing for ordinance number 2021-33 and asking anyone to come forward and address the council. I see no one approaching the podium, so we'll now close our public hearing and bring it up to front for further discussion or a motion, Council.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-33 to apply the R110 single-family residential zone to approximately 0.29 acres on property currently zoned RR rural residential zone located at approximately 1330 North, 100 East.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jensen. And this will be a roll call vote again. And we'll start this time with Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. We'll now move on to our final public hearing for this evening, 9D, public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance 2021-34, adopting the Pleasant Grove City Stormwater Management Plan updated November the 2021 to meet the requirements of the Utah State Division of Water Quality, MS4 permit. A draft copy of the plan is available for review on the city's website and at the Public Works Office at 323 West 700 South, providing for an effective date. Director.
Mayor and Council, we were required by the State Division of Environmental Quality to do an update to our stormwater management program. And this is something that was established many years ago, I think 2010. And we go through annual reviews of this to make sure that we're meeting current state standards with regards to stormwater discharge. And we need to make sure that we're up to date with those. So this update incorporates all of the new standards from the Division of Environmental Quality from the state, and keeps us in compliance with our MS4 permit from the state and for discharge of stormwater. So the plan is available, was available, has been for the last on the website as a draft plan in anticipation of coming to this meeting and having a public hearing and answering any questions. And Councilman Bullock, I think, read the whole plan, and it's a lot of pages. So, no, it is a lot of information with regards to stormwater discharge and making sure that we're dealing with anything that's potentially running off and running into. For us, Utah Lake is the big depository of the water, the stormwater that runs off from our city. And so it's a matter of trying to keep that water clean and safe as it goes to the lake, and that we're requiring those that discharge, which is all of us that live in the city and businesses and residents, just making sure that we're not discharging things that are not appropriate or washing sediments away. So that's what this plan does, and that's what's before us.
Any other questions for? Okay, with no other questions, we'll now open up our public hearing for ordinance number 2021-34 and invite anybody to come forward and address the council. I see no one coming forward, so we'll now close our public hearing, bring it back up to the front for further discussion or a motion.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-34, adopting the Pleasant Grove City Stormwater Management Plan, updated November 2021 to meet the requirements of the Utah State Division of Water Quality MS4 permit.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Bullock, and ask for a second.
Second.
From Councilmember Anderson. And with that, we will go to a roll call vote and ask Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
By the way, 39,989 people. Can we just get a couple more people so that we can just hit that number?
We want to stay under 40,000. We don't want to get above that.
We
It
want to
puts us
stay
into the
under?
next-
So
no,
I
actually,
need.
It's 50,000 that gets us
Okay,
into the
I
next.
need 11, I need 10 more people.
I will make a note that Councilmember Bullock claims he's read the entire wastewater management plan. Memorized, yes. So anyway, okay, we've finished our public.
I don't mean to interrupt, Mayor, but I think that maybe if you're having problems sleeping, you could start reading that, if you'd like.
That'll keep you wide awake, I'm sure. So anyway, okay, that
Or
finished.
Marty had to write it.
Yeah, we've read that, and
Consultants who wrote it.
we got to read it to make to kind of do the updates and making sure that we're following the program, and it's a lot of fun to manage. For
I
sure.
was wondering if it was just like a form that you just had to copy and paste.
Well, somewhat at this point because it was an update to that, and we had to manage all of the edits. So
We'll move on to our action items for this evening and move to 10A to consider for adoption ordinance 2021-35, amending City Code Title 6, Chapter Storm Drainage, and establishing obligations of private property owners to manage the stormwater drainage on their property and providing enforcement policies and other technical additions in order to meet the state stormwater discharge requirements, adding a requirement for a land disturbance permit process, providing an effective date. Director.
Mayor and Council, per our permit from the state, there are specific things that we are required to manage and be able to, especially with regards to illicit discharge of coming from any site or any property that may enter into our stormwater system and in the end enter into the waters of the United States, which is the waters that flow to Utah Lake. And so we did have a lot of those things addressed in our stormwater technical manual in previous plans, but hadn't had those in our ordinance specifically. And so what we did is we went and got our ordinance up to date with the requirements from the state that we're required to manage per our MS4 permit. And so we've worked with Tina on updating our chapter 6 under the storm drain section to allow us to be able to address illicit discharges that are coming from properties to make sure that we can get in there and take care of an issue so it doesn't, it's for the health, safety, and welfare of the public for us to be able to do that. And so that's one of the major updates. And then we also added a land disturbance permit section. Previously, we've not had a process for doing that. There is a requirement that they submit the information, especially if it's larger than 1 acre in size, so that we can review that and be able to determine. They already have to, through the state process, go and get a permit and notice an NOI permit from the state to be able to disturb that property. But now this gives us the opportunity to make sure we're aware of any larger excavations and things that are happening, so that we can make sure that they're following those requirements. So that's the main gist of the updates in the ordinance. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have from what the changes were.
Any questions, council? If not, I would ask for a motion on ordinance number 2021-35, amending city code.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of ordinance 2021-35, amending City Code Title 6, Chapter Storm Drainage, establishing obligations of private property owners to manage the storm water drainage on their property, providing enforcement policies and their technical additions in order to meet state stormwater discharge requirements, adding a requirement for a land disturbance permit process and providing for an effective date. I'm trying to read with my glasses here. Obviously, it's not.
We have a motion by,
I'm not doing good here.
by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. And this will start out with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
And the motion passes. Thank you.
Maybe you might have to if you want me to read any more. Just a little bit.
Careful. Okay, we'll move on to 10B. Consider for adoption resolution 2021-065, authorizing the mayor to sign a cooperative agreement with the Utah Department of Transportation, Udot, to construct and maintain stormwater drainage facilities in State Street corridor at approximately 1300 West North County Boulevard in Pleasant Grove, Utah County, providing for an effective date. Director.
First off, Scott, could you dim the lights? I'm going to show this mess. We have been working with UDOT for a number of years. I think it started clear back in 2014, 15. We've been talking about the widening of State Street from essentially the bridge at 220 South to 500 East in American Fork. That project is planned for 2023 to start construction in the spring of 2023, so just a little bit more than a year out. They're trying to get these agreements in place. Essentially, the gist of this cooperative agreement is that we're agreeing to accept the waters from the widening of the road. So there's going to be an additional impervious area that increases the stormwater flows. We're agreeing to take that into the stormwater facilities that we have at 1300 West. We've looked at this with our models, with our engineering group, and feel like we can accept that water without having them detain the water and be able to handle it down that corridor, that stormwater corridor. There is a financial aspect to this agreement in that we've worked with them to evaluate what that cost would be, and we've come up with a number of $305,000 is what we would ask of them in order for us to agree to this agreement. So that's our recommendation, is that we do agree to this cooperative agreement to accept their water in lieu of the cash monies being received.
Okay, any other questions for the director? If not, I'd ask for a motion on this resolution.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2021-065 as read by you earlier.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson and a second by Councilmember Jensen. And we'll start out with Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. We'll now move on to 10C. Consider for adoption Resolution 2021-066, authorizing the mayor to sign a general service contract agreement with Pacific Corp, doing business as Rocky Mountain Power, to provide for electrical service to the pump station operation at the Manila Creek Pond on or near 751 West, 3300 North, Pleasant Grove, Utah, and providing for an effective date. Director.
Mayor and council, the next two items are related to the contract that we approved on our last council meeting, which was for the Manila Pond Booster Pump Station. And in order to run those pumps, we need power, and so we're working with Rocky Mountain Power on getting service to those pumps. There'll be a new power line, a new power pole set that will come down, run across the park on 3300 North, just behind the sidewalk. It will run over to the new pump station location where they'll set a transformer, and that will provide the power to the pump station. And so this first agreement is the agreement or the contract to provide us power. The next item on the agenda is the easement that's needed to put the power line in the ground over to the transformer. They need to have an easement from that power pole across the park property to that transformer. So that's both those items, but the first item is the contract for providing power to us. The second one is an easement for that power line to be installed in.
Okay. Any further questions for the director?
Nope.
If not, I ask for a motion on Resolution 2021-066.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2021-66 as read by the mayor.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. And this will start out with Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
and the motion passes. Thank you. Now move on to 10D. Consider for adoption Resolution 2021-067, authorizing the mayor to sign a general service contract agreement with Pacific Corp, doing business as Rocky Mountain Power, to provide electrical service to the pump station operation at Manila Creek Pond near 751 West, 3300 North, Pleasant Grove, and providing for an effective date. And the director's already, let's see, that was 66. Excuse me. I didn't mark that as you were. We'll go to 10D. To consider for adoption Resolution 2021-067, authorizing the mayor to sign a right-of-way easement in favor of Pacific Corp, doing business as Rocky Mountain Power, for the construction and reconstruction, operation and maintenance, repair, replacement, enlargement, or removal of underground electrical power distribution and communications lines on or across under property owned by Pleasant Grove City, located at the Manila Creek Pond, approximately 3300 North, 751 West, Pleasant Grove. And the director has already explained that, so I'd ask, if there's not any other questions, for a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-067 as read by the mayor.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Anderson. And we'll start out with a roll call vote with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll now move down to 10E. Consider awarding Cody Ecker Construction the Monson Overflow Piping Project bid with a total bid price of $44,792, and authorize the mayor to sign the notice of award, and authorize the mayor to sign the notice to proceed, an agreement upon receipt and approval of final contract documents. Director.
Mayor, Council, as described in our work session, this is just a small 100 feet or so of overflow pipe that we're needing from a ditch up on the Monson tank site to help us deal with flows when our secondary water tank overflows and we're not, for some reason, able to handle that, then it will not go into private properties. It's intended to flow into this ditch system, into our stormwater system. So this is the project that does that. We got great bids, and the low bidder was Cody Ecker Construction, who we've worked with many times and feel like he'll do a great job for us. And the bid price was at $44,792, which is approximately 9.8% lower than our engineer's estimate of cost, which is great to get one project below that this year. So it's hard to get it in this type of climate for our bidding construction work. But anyways, so that's the item.
Okay, is there any other questions for the director? If not, I ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we award Cody Ecker Construction the Monson Overflow Piping Project bid with a total bid price of $44,792, and authorize you, the mayor, to sign the notice of award, and authorize the mayor to sign the notice to proceed an agreement upon receipt and approval of final contract documents.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move to 10F. Consider for adoption Resolution 2021-068, authorizing the mayor to sign a physical assistance agreement with the Utah Division of Recreation funding for a restrooms facility at the Battle Creek Park and providing for an effective date. Director Giles.
Mayor and Council, this is our agreement with the State Parks or State Recreation Department for the funding of $100,000 for our Battle Creek Trailhead restroom. That outlines our process of submitting our invoices and those types of things with a completion date of 2023. So we'll get started on that hopefully this next spring.
Any other questions?
No.
No other questions? Ask a motion on Resolution 2021-068.
Mayor, I make a motion for the adoption of Resolution 2021-68 as read by the mayor.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Anderson. And we'll be another roll call vote with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Okay, we'll now move to 10G, adopting Resolution 2021-069, approving the city's participation in the Utah Opioid Abatement Settlement Fund and authorizing the mayor to execute the necessary documents to effective the city's participation in the settlement agreement and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mayor. We reviewed this in the work session. There's been a settlement with some opioid companies, of which some of this money could trickle down to the city. We do need to change the instead of authorizing the mayor, if you could authorize the city administrator and the city attorney to execute the documents. There's a lot of online stuff that needs to be done. Tina will be the one filling that out. So if you would, when that motion's made, to just make sure that you're authorizing the two of us to do that. Is there any questions?
No questions on that? Then we will ask for a motion on Resolution 2021-069.
Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-069, approving the city's participation in the Utah Opioid Abatement Settlement Fund and authorizing the city administrator and/or the city attorney to execute the necessary documents to effectuate the city's participation in the settlement agreement and providing an effective date.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bullock. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Anderson. And this will be a roll call vote again with Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Now move on to 10H, consider for adoption ordinance 2021-36, setting the time and place for the regular meetings of the city council, boards, commissions, and committee meetings of the Pleasant Grove City for the year 2022 and providing for effective date. Director.
Everything you need to know is in the title on that one. If there's no questions, it's ready for a vote.
I do have one.
Yeah.
This is a side question. Maybe we can add it to it or something. We in the past, we've had some meetings with neighboring cities,
Uh-huh.
and that necessarily has to be on here, but I'm just, before I forget, Scott.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to remember. is,
Okay.
Can we have some more of those with neighboring cities? I thought they were good.
Yeah, we won't put that on our official schedule.
No, but I would like to see a couple.
But, yeah, a couple years ago, we had Cedar Hills, American Fork, Linden, right?
Yeah.
And we met here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we didn't do it last year via COVID,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's get that fired back up.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry, I was off topic.
Okay.
We would
No.
like more meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll mark that down.
Yeah.
That you want more meetings.
More meetings,
And that's Councilmember Jensen.
more social gatherings. I would do that. So.
Okay, with that, I'd ask for a motion.
All right, Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2021-36 as read by you.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jensen. And we'll start out with Councilmember Jensen
Yes.
and Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. We'll now move to 10I. Consider for adoption resolution 2021-070, adopting for the voter participation area map VPA as prepared by the Utah County Elections Office and providing for an effective date.
As explained in the work session, we will be adopting our old maps until the county is able to work through the census data and update those maps. We need to do that to stay compliant with state law. So that's what you have in front of you. As soon as the new maps are presented to us, we'll get those in front of you for adoption.
Okay. I will make a note here before I ask for a motion on resolution 21-070. It's our final resolution of the year.
Yeah.
Ended on 7-0. Can't believe we did 70.
70
A lot.
So anyway, so ask for a motion on,
Okay. Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of resolution 2021-70, adopting the voter participation areas map VPA as prepared by the Utah County Elections Office and providing for an effective date.
I have a motion by Councilmember Jensen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bullock. And we'll start out with Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Bullock.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. That concludes all of our action items for this evening. And we've finished our everything from our work session was concluded previously. And is there anything from our city manager on the review of our January 4th City Council meeting agenda?
We do have a few items. We will be adopting the agreement for our group doing the general plan. I believe Marty has a couple things as well. We will have a couple discussion items for you regarding on the work session. The Lions Club has a little special presentation they wanted to come and share with you. So they will be coming and doing that. So that's all we have. I mean, that meeting's 4 weeks away, so I'm sure we'll have a few more items on there as we get a little bit closer.
Oh, Kathy?
Yeah.
The
That's,
give the oath of office to the elected mayor and city council.
I'll kind of make sure I show up for that one, okay?
Bring friends and family.
Bring your friends and family.
families, huh? So we'll have photos,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, refreshments, donuts?
Well,
No, no. Okay, thanks Kathy for that. Anything else, Scott?
I'm just saying, generally, when we do this, we just do it in the meeting. It's not necessarily an open house with refreshments.
That's that's correct.
Because we do that the first thing, and then we get into our meeting, so
Particularly,
we could have refreshments, but
I had to offer that out there just so Diana would make it to the meeting.
particularly seeing as there was no election, so, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a hard campaign, I know.
Yes,
And-
yeah,
and- and
yeah.
And a donut or something would help them out, but,
Yes.
yeah.
So with that, that's kind of, we'll move to ask the council if they have any other business.
I have nothing. That's a shock.
Just very quickly, a beautiful Thanksgiving in town, and the lights look spectacular. Beautiful celebration in downtown Park. It was. I am always very grateful for whoever is pulling off those events, because there was hot chocolate, there was donuts, there were Santa Claus, people singing. It was a perfect night in downtown Park.
But the best part was the cast of characters that was
The
there,
cast of characters.
provided by a certain department. in the
Oh,
city.
Highlight of the evening.
That was a highlight.
Good, shout out to the Parks Department
Absolutely.
again.
And there are some parks
Look great.
employees that I know that is their favorite thing to do.
Touch bit out of their comfort zone.
Oh, see, I heard
They were not so happy.
they were voluntold that
Voluntold.
I like that term.
No, it was a beautiful evening, and they added a whole lot to it. There was a new guy, John James. Welcome to, he's sitting there wearing that elf suit. Anyway, beautiful, it was a perfect night.
It was good.
Okay, the only thing I have tonight, this past week, we had our first meeting of Restore the G.
Yes.
And we have two council members that joined us along with so in a joint effort between the city and Pleasant Grove High School, we've started the process to restore the G this next year, and look forward to that. So there's more to come, and there's a lot of work to do and a lot of money to be raised to accomplish that. But we look forward to hopefully by fall to see a nice big G on the mountain there, painted white.
You know, Mayor, when we had those fires up on the G Mountain,
Yeah.
I loved coming out the next morning and seeing everybody come out to see how the G was.
Yeah.
It was a whole town coming out to see. So I think this is just a chance for the whole town to restore the G.
Mayor, I think you said in that meeting it falls under historic now.
Yeah, it does. That's what the Forest Service informed to me, so it's got to stay there.
Yay!
So anyway, and we're envious of a lot of, because their Forest Service is not adding any more letters on any mountains that are on Forest Service property. So we can be proud of that and grateful for the many generations of before us that had the foresight to put it up there. And so anyway, it's a great thing. But
It's going to be a lot of work.
that concludes our meeting this evening, and I have to hand it to our three council members and the staff that were here this evening, and I will duly note that when we have two missing, we move through the items a lot quicker. So, anyway,
It's because I've never been known of being talkative.
yes. So with that, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.